Russian Marines flying Soviet flags paraded right into a Ukrainian minefield in Kursk, and drones finished them off. Russian efforts to recapture Kursk Oblast are faltering, confidently rolling toward Ukrainian lines in western Russia's Kursk Oblast in up-armored vehicles brazenly flying the flag of the defunct Soviet Union. An assault group from the Russian 155th Naval Infantry Brigade paraded right into a minefield laid by the Ukrainian 47th Mechanized Brigade. The results were predictable and emblematic of Russia's faltering counteroffensive in Kursk. The counteroffensive ramped up in early November, 3 months after a strong Ukrainian force invaded Kursk and carved what is now a 250-square-mile salient from the oblast. The Russians again went on an assault in Kursk against the 47th Brigade and its auxiliaries. In a column of more than a dozen tanks and about a company of enemies, around 100 troops, they threw the elite Russian 155th Marine Brigade with the flags of victory into the assault. Mines blew up some of the Russian vehicles. Drones struck others and also hounded the dismounted infantry. One shell-shocked Russian crewman bailed out of his damaged vehicle, trudged a few steps through the snow, fell flat onto his back, and then exploded as a drone slammed into him. We are extinguishing all the enemy's attempts to advance in Kursk.
Granata!
The 47th Mechanized Brigade has defeated at least 2 major Russian and North Korean assaults this month. The brigade held the line along the western edge of the salient while Ukrainian paratroopers counterattacked on the eastern edge on February 5th, quickly advancing several miles. For the first time in months, the Ukrainian salient is getting bigger. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed last week that his forces invaded Kursk in August in order to seize Russian territory. Kyiv could eventually trade for Ukrainian territory the Russians occupy. We are changing one territory for another, but it's not clear the Ukrainians can get favorable terms as US President Donald Trump impulsively takes control of possible negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. Recently, an elite Ukrainian Special Forces battalion launched a daring assault to reclaim a heavily fortified Russian stronghold south of Pokrovsk. Armed with precise tactics and detailed knowledge of the compound, they executed a flawless operation that left Russian troops unable to respond, dealing a devastating blow to the Russian operations at Pokrovsk. The goal of the Ukrainian forces in this area is to retake the Russian-controlled fortifications to the north of Pishane. This is because these powerful positions are part of a larger Ukrainian network of defenses on the outer perimeter of Pokrovsk. The Russian control of some of these positions is a significant threat to the Ukrainian defense of the city, as they could utilize these positions to launch further assaults. The main advantage of the Ukrainian forces in this area is the proximity of Russian-held positions to Zverove and the rest of the agglomerations around Pokrovsk. This means the Ukrainian special operators could quickly infiltrate and assault the Russian positions without crossing open fields, using the nearby settlements and tree lines to provide additional cover. The Shaman special operators were tasked to execute this operation at their own discretion. As the Ukrainians built this compound, they had the exact schematics available, meaning that the Special Operations Forces could plan their assault most effectively. This means they also know where the Russian soldiers would most likely be positioned and how to eliminate them most efficiently. Combat footage from the area reveals how the special operators initiated their operation with targeted drone strikes and sniper fire that managed to shock the Russian forces and soften up their defenses. The combined efforts led to the Russian fighters subconsciously withdrawing more and more into the underground bunkers. However, this was right according to the Ukrainians' plan. With the trenches nearly empty, the Shaman Special Forces managed to infiltrate and enter them almost unopposed, chasing and eliminating Russian fighters trying to hide deeper into the fortification. With a final few well-placed grenades, the Ukrainians eliminated the Russian survivors and took up their positions to prepare for a Russian counterattack that would undoubtedly follow. Overall, the Ukrainians successfully executed a carefully planned assault with elite special forces, defying the difficult odds, and successfully eliminated a mighty Russian defensive stronghold. With control over this stronghold restored, Ukrainians are in a much better position to fight off any future Russian attack.
Пострел!
Що та хуйня кацапська. Росія.